Hello student, welcome in this Rose online project. Rose online project is conducted by Rare Shikshan Sanstha, Satara, Sadguru Gadge Maharaj College, Karad. Myself, Miss Pawar SB from SGM College Karad. My subject is biology. So today in this lecture we will discuss again the topic ecosystem and energy flow. Ecosystem and energy flow, it is very important topic. This is the chapter number 14, compulsory 3 mark, and with option it consists of 4 mark. And in previous lecture we can understand what is decomposition, which process involved in the decomposition, and what is energy flow, and how energy is transformed from first tropic level to second tropic level, from second tropic level to the third tropic level, and from third tropic level to the fourth tropic level. So today in this lecture we will discuss the two term. The first term, that is a ecological pyramid, and second term is a biogeochemical cycle. So now first see the term ecological pyramid. Ecological pyramid is a graphic representation of the relationship between the organism of various successive trophic level with respect to energy, biomass and number. What is ecological pyramid? Ecological pyramid is a graphic representation of the relationship between the organism of various successive trophic level with respect to energy, biomass and the number. Pyramid is a structure which has a broader base that gradually narrow upward, forming an inverted cone-like structure. And pyramid concept was developed by C. Elton in 1927. So, base of the pyramid represent the producers or the first trophic level. This is the important statement. The base of the pyramid represent first trophic level, and first trophic level consists of the producers. Apex represent the tertiary or the top level of the consumers. So base represent the producers and apex represent the tertiary or the topmost consumers. Any calculations of energy content, biomass, number has to include all organisms at that trophic level. Ecological pyramid are the graphic representation of trophic level in an ecosystem. Producer make the base of the pyramid, and the subsequent tiers of the pyramid represent herbivorous, carnivorous and the top carnivorous, which are present in a different trophic level. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the ecological pyramid. It is narrow at the apex and broad toward the base. At the base, producers are the present, and at the top, consumers are the present. And this is the first trophic level, this is the second trophic level, third trophic level and fourth trophic level. This trophic level consists of producer, second trophic level consists of primary consumer, third trophic level consists of secondary consumer, fourth trophic level consists of tertiary consumers. So ecological pyramid is a graphic representation of the trophic level in an ecosystem. There are the three types of the ecological pyramid. Which three type? First type is known as a pyramid of the number, second type is known as a pyramid of the biomass, and third is known as a pyramid of the energy. So how many type of the ecological pyramid? There are three type of the ecological pyramid. First type is known as a pyramid of the number, second type is known as a pyramid of the biomass, third type is known as a pyramid of the energy. So now see the first type, that is a pyramid of number. Pyramid of number represents the number of organisms at each trophic level. For example, in a grassland, the number of grasses is more than the number of the herbivores that feed on them, and the number of the herbivores is more than the number of the carnivores. So, what is pyramid of number? In a grassland, the number of grasses is more than the number of the herbivores that feed on them, and the number of the herbivores is more than the number of the carnivores. So, this is the diagrammatic representation of the pyramid number. In a grassland, number of the grasses is more than the herbivores, and number of the herbivores is more than the carnivores. So, pyramid of the number represent the number of the organism at each trophic level. Now see the second type, that is a pyramid of biomass. What is the pyramid of the biomass? Pyramid of the biomass represent the biomass at each trophic level. Standing biomass is the amount of the living matter at any given time, expressed as gram per unit area or kilocalorie per unit area. Most of the terrestrial ecosystem, pyramid of the biomass is the upright, and however in case of the aquatic ecosystem, the pyramid of the biomass may be inverted. So this is the important point for the MCQ. Aquatic ecosystem, the pyramid of the biomass may be inverted. For example, in a pond ecosystem, phytoplankton are main producer, and they have a short life cycle and rapid turnover the rate. So pyramid of the biomass represent the biomass at the each trophic level. Now show the diagram of the pyramid of the biomass. So pyramid of the biomass in a terrestrial ecosystem, it is a upright. This is the first trophic level, this is second trophic level, this is third trophic level, and this is fourth trophic level. First trophic level consists of producers, second trophic level consists of herbivores, third trophic level consists of primary carnivores, and fourth trophic level consists of the top carnivores. So the biomass in a first trophic level is more than the biomass of the second, third, and the fourth trophic level. So this is the pyramid of the biomass. Now see the third type, that is a pyramid of the energy. What is pyramid of energy? It represents the total amount of energy at each trophic level, and it is expressed in kilocalorie per unit area per unit time. It is never inverted. This is the important point. And pyramid of the energy is always upright. So this is the diagram of the pyramid of the energy. First trophic level, second trophic level, third trophic level, and fourth trophic level. Energy is transformed from first trophic level to the second trophic level, from second trophic level to the third trophic level, and from third trophic level to the fourth trophic level. And another energy is lost in the form of the heat. And pyramid of the energy is always upright. So these are the three types of the pyramid, that is the pyramid of the number, pyramid of the biomass, and pyramid of the energy, and it is always upright. Now what is biochemical cycle? Biochemical cycle, that is the nutrients move from non-living to the living, that is from abiotic component to a biotic component, or back to non-living component of the ecosystem in a more or a less circular manner. It is known as a biogeochemical cycle. The dead remains of the organism are decomposed and nutrients are released back into the soil by the detritivore organism. These nutrients are absorbed again by the root of the green plant, which are present in the soil, and then are passed on the herbivorous organism, and from herbivorous organism, then it is passed to the carnivorous organism. So this is the recycling of the nutrient is known as a biogeochemical cycle, or biogeochemical cycle. It is also known as a nutrient cycle. So what is nutrient cycle? Recycling of the nutrient, that is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, is known as a biogeochemical or a nutrient cycle. There are various types of the biogeochemical cycles. For example, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, oxygen cycle, sulfur cycle, and the phosphorus cycle. So these are the example of the common biogeochemical cycle. Now see the types of the nutrient cycle. How many types of the nutrient cycle? There are two types. First type is known as a gaseous cycle. For example, nitrogen and carbon cycle. And second type is known as a sedimentary cycle. For example, is a phosphorus cycle. So, how many type of the nutrient cycle? There are two types. First type is known as a gaseous cycle. Second type is known as a sedimentary cycle. Gaseous cycle, for example, nitrogen and carbon cycle, and sedimentary cycle, for example, a phosphorus cycle. Now see the carbon cycle. All life form on the earth are carbon based because carbon is the main component of all organic compounds of the protoplasm, and it constitutes 49% of the dry weight of the organism. This is important point for the MCQ. How many it constitute of the dry weight of the organism? It constitute 49% of the dry weight of the organism. If we look at the total quantity of the global carbon, we find that 71% carbon is found dissolved in the ocean. This oceanic reservoir regulates the amount of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Carbon, it is a part of the rock, it is the part of the fossil fuel like oil, coal, and the natural gas, and has been away from the rest of the carbon cycle for a long time. These long-term storage places are known as a sinks. When fossil fuel are burned, carbon that had been underground is released back into the air as a carbon dioxide. The element carbon is a part of the seawater, the atmosphere, rocks such as a limestone, and coal, soil, as well as all living things. So this is the first point in carbon cycle. Carbon as a CO2 moves from the atmosphere to plant. Through the process of the photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is pulled up from the air to produce food. Carbon moves from plant to animals through food chain. That is carbon present in plant and moves to the animals. So by the photosynthesis, green plant utilize CO2 from the atmosphere and formation of the food take place. And from plant, the carbon moves to the animals. So the movement of the carbon take place from plant to animals. Carbon moves from the living things to the atmosphere. Each time you exhale, you are releasing carbon dioxide gas CO2 in the atmosphere. Okay. Then the decomposers also contribute substantially to CO2 in atmosphere by their processing of the waste material and dead organic matter of the land and the ocean. When fossil fuel burn to power factories, power plant, motor vehicle, most of the carbon quickly enter the atmosphere as carbon dioxide gas. Each year, 5.5 billion ton of the carbon is released through the combustion of the fossil fuel. Of the massive amount, 3.3 billion tons stay in the atmosphere. Most of the remainder is dissolved in the seawater and deposited as a calcium carbonate or magnesium carbonate compounds which make the shell of the marine animal. The burning of the wood, burning of the forest fire, and consumption of the organic matter, fossil fuel, volcanic activity are the additional source for releasing of the CO2 in the atmosphere. By which process CO2 release into the atmosphere? First, that is a burning of wood. Second, forest fire. Third, consumption of the organic matter. Fourth one is a fossil fuel, volcanic activity. So these are the process which are responsible for the releasing CO2 into the atmosphere. Carbon moves from the atmosphere to the ocean. The ocean and the other bodies absorb some carbon in the form of the CO2 from the atmosphere. The carbon dissolved in the oceanic water, some amount of the fixed carbon is lost to the sediment and removed from the circulation. So fossil fuel represent a reservoir of the carbon. Carbon cycling occur through atmosphere, ocean, and through living and dead organisms. Human activities have significantly influenced the carbon cycle. Rapid deforestation and massive burning of the fossil fuel for energy and transport have significantly increases the rate of the release of the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Thus, the entire carbon cycle take place in a cyclic manner. So, entire carbon cycle is run by basic process, that is a photosynthesis, respiration, decomposition, sedimentation, and consumption. So carbon cycle take place by which basic process? Photosynthesis, respiration, decomposition, sedimentation, and the consumption. Now see the diagrammatic representation of the carbon cycle. Green plant utilize CO2 into the atmosphere by the photosynthesis, and they form the organic food, and from uh, producers the energy is transformed to the consumers. Industrial commercialization and automobiles uses and burning of the fossil fuels and the process of the decomposition also releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and from the atmosphere green plant utilize CO2 by the process of the photosynthesis and formation of the food, and from the producers this carbon is transformed into the another organisms which are dependent on their food requirement. So in this way CO2 released into the atmosphere, it moved into the living organism. So the movement of the carbon is take place from living to the non-living, non-living to the living. In this way carbon cycle take place. Now see the next cycle, that is a phosphorus cycle. Cyclic movement of the phosphorus through hydrosphere, lithosphere, and the biosphere constitute the phosphorus cycle. What is phosphorus cycle? Cyclic movement of the phosphorus through hydrosphere, lithosphere, and the biosphere constitute the phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus, it is a major constituent of biological membrane, nucleic acid, and the cellular energy transfer system. Many animals also need large quantities of this element to make shells, bones, hoods, and the teeth. So, the natural reservoir of the phosphorus is the rock which contain phosphorus in the form of the phosphate. When rocks are weathered, minute amount of these phosphates dissolved in the soil solution and absorbed by the root of the plants. Herbivores and other animals obtain these elements from the plant. The waste product and the dead organism are decomposed by the phosphate solubilizing bacteria releasing phosphorus. Unlike carbon cycle, there is no respiratory release of phosphorus into the atmosphere. There are two major differences between carbon and phosphorus cycle. Atmospheric input of the phosphorus through rainfall are much smaller than the carbon unit. And secondly, exchange of the phosphorus between organism and environment are negligible as compared to the carbon. Unlike carbon and nitrogen, phosphorus is always in short supply, and hence it acts as a limiting factor for the plant growth. Sudden influence of the phosphorus in the form of the agricultural runoff, industrial effluent rich in the phosphate content and lead to eutrophication in water bodies. What is eutrophication? It is the important definition. Eutrophication is due to the overgrowth of the algae at the instance of high phosphorus dissolved in water. So, the overgrowth of the algae kill or harm the other aquatic life is known as a eutrophication. Eutrophication is due to the overgrowth of the algae at the instance of the high phosphorus dissolved in water. The overgrowth of the algae kill or harm the aquatic life. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the phosphorus cycle. Movement of the phosphorus take place from biotic to abiotic component. Weathering of the rock, soil erosion, decomposition, leaching. These processes are responsible for releasing phosphorus into the atmosphere, and this phosphorus is absorbed by the roots of the plant. In this way, movement of the phosphorus take place and the phosphorus cycle run out. So, these are the examples of the biogeochemical cycle, that is a carbon cycle and the phosphorus cycle. In this way, in this lecture, we can understand what is ecological pyramid, which are the types of the ecological pyramid, that is pyramid of number, pyramid of the biomass, pyramid of the energy. And the biogeochemical cycle, gaseous cycle, for example carbon cycle, and sedimentary cycle, for example phosphorus cycle. Thank you for watching this video.